nearly $1 trillion. That is the private value of Anthropic, the company sitting at the center of a fight our filing radar mistook for a cyber attack. There was no hack. There was no data breach. What was actually happening was bigger and stranger, a war over who gets to control the weights inside artificial intelligence itself. Go back to July 20th, 2026. Axios reported the White House was quietly reconsidering old plans to restrict Chinese open-weight AI models. The trigger, a fast-rising model out of Beijing called Kimi, eating into American mindshare. No bin existed yet. Only pressure, procurement rules, blacklist threats, and a White House advisor warning that closed labs wanted government help to eliminate open-source competition. Here's who actually triggered this story. Ahmad Osman is the founder of Osmodic, and he moderates one of the internet's biggest local AI communities, r/LocalLLaMA. On July 25th, he posted a question that would not go away. How did Karpathy feel, working inside the one major lab that had not signed a pledge to protect open-source AI? So why did an automated filings scanner grab his name for a cyberattack story? That week's coverage blended two worlds. Reporters covering Kimi's rise used words like cybersecurity, backdoors, and national security beside open-source policy. A tool built to catch corporate breach filings latched onto the loudest name in the noise, Ahmad. Not Anthropic, not Moonshot, Ahmad. Here's the first turn. There is no SEC filing. There is no Ahmad breach. But the story the algorithm stumbled into is real, and it is enormous. A policy fight now shaping who gets to build the next generation of artificial intelligence and who gets locked out. Start with the model that lit the fuse. Moonshot, a Chinese AI lab, launched Kimi K3 on July 16th. By July 27th, the full weights were sitting free on Hugging Face, 2.8 trillion parameters, a context window over 1 million tokens, open for anyone on Earth to download, modify, and run. Free. Frontier class. Chinese. Washington had considered restricting Chinese open models before and shelved the idea. Kimi's rise reignited it. Axios described new levers under discussion: export blacklists, procurement rules starving Chinese models of government business, and a proposed order making hosts legally liable. White House advisor David Sacks warned closed labs risked turning government into their enforcement arm, protecting what he called a duopoly on model revenue. Not everyone in tech wanted that fight. On July 22nd, roughly 200 startups, including Y Combinator and Proton, signed a letter urging the administration not to cut off Chinese open models at all. Their argument was survival, not ideology. Small companies build on open weights because they cannot afford to build a frontier lab from scratch. 2 days later, the fight went public in a bigger way. On July 24th, 2026, a coalition published a letter titled Open Weights and American AI Leadership. 25 organizations signed at launch: NVIDIA, Microsoft, Meta, IBM, Dell, Palantir, Mistral, Hugging Face. NVIDIA's Jensen Huang shared it in his first ever post on X. The letter did not stay small. Within 48 hours, more than 50 organizations had joined. By August 3rd, Microsoft's own tally listed more than 270 signatories. OpenAI was not on the list at launch, but reporting says it joined within about a day. The pressure to sign was becoming its own story. One name stayed off the list: Anthropic. So did xAI. The letter's core ask was simple: do not rush to restrict open weights, expand compute access for everyone, and if distillation theft is the real problem, write a targeted law for that instead of banning an entire technique. Anthropic said nothing in public for 3 more days. Here is the second turn. Every major chip maker, every major cloud platform, more than 270 companies signed. 2 of the industry's most valuable labs did not, Anthropic and xAI. Both were deep in preparing what reporting called some of the largest IPOs in tech history. Lay the mechanism out in order. A Chinese lab releases frontier-class weights for free. Washington starts weighing buyer-side pressure against Chinese models. An industry coalition answers with a public letter defending open weights. Anthropic responds with 3 counterdemands of its own. And a developer community, Ahmad's community, watches the whole fight decide what they're allowed to build with next. Rewind to February 23, 2026, 5 months before the letter. Anthropic published its own investigation. 3 rival labs, DeepSeek, Moonshot, and Minimax, running industrial-scale campaigns to copy Claude's abilities. More than 16 million flagged exchanges. About 24,000 fraudulent accounts. Moonshot alone, more than 3.4 million exchanges, targeting Claude's reasoning and coding skills. Anthropic doesn't sell Claude in China. These campaigns ran through proxy accounts. There's a personal irony sitting in the middle of this. On May 19th, Andre Karpathy, a name LocalLLaMA builders treat as a hero, joined Anthropic's pre-training team. 2 months later, his new employer was the one major lab standing outside the Open Weights Coalition. Ahmad's July 25th post asked the question a lot of the community was already asking quietly. What does that feel like? For builders like Ahmad, this isn't abstract policy. LocalLLaMA developers, small startups, and hardware companies like Osman depend on open weights the way a small shop depends on a public road. Restrict the road, and only the biggest players still have a way through. That's the sovereignty argument underneath the letter, compute access, and the freedom to run a model on your own machine. On July 27th, Anthropic finally answered. CEO Dario Amodei published a post titled, "Our Position on Open Weights Models." His opening line, Anthropic has never advocated for a ban on open weights models. He called safe open models a genuine public good. Then he pushed back with 3 asks instead: tighter chip export controls, a crackdown on distillation theft, and mandatory safety testing for every capable model, open or closed. Here's the contradiction sitting at the center of this fight. The coalition letter argues legitimate distillation is normal industry practice. Punish theft, not the technique. Anthropic's own February report calls Moonshot's campaign exactly that: theft, dressed up as research. Both sides cite the same idea. Open weights, once released, cannot be recalled, and reach opposite conclusions about what that means. Third turn. Anthropic says it never wanted a ban, only testing and tighter borders. The coalition says testing regimes favor whoever can already afford to run them. Both claims are on the record. Neither side has fully answered the other. Here's why the stakes are so high. On June 1st, 2026, weeks before any of this became public, Anthropic confidentially filed draft IPO paperwork with the SEC. Reporting tied that filing to a $65 billion funding round completed in May and a private valuation around $965 billion. A policy fight over open weights was quietly unfolding right before one of tech's largest public offerings. One detail makes this messy. Osman, Ahmad's own company, signed the coalition letter defending open weights. But Ahmad himself, on X, had already written that for open source AI to win, Anthropic has to lose. Corporate signature, personal advocacy. It's not clear the two were ever coordinated. Open questions remain, and corporate breach won't pretend otherwise. Why did an automated filings radar grab Ahmad's name instead of Anthropic's or Moonshot's? How much of the White House's claim that Moonshot distilled Anthropic's model to build Kimi holds up beyond Anthropic's own report? And in a Washington already hardening against China, where does mandatory global testing land? Here's the takeaway underneath the noise. Open weights, once downloaded, cannot be undownloaded. That single fact is why this fight will keep outrunning any one company's press release. If you build on open models, read the license, not just the headline. And remember, a signed letter is not one employee's opinion, and a policy statement is not an enacted law. So the file that started started as Ahmad's cyberattack closes as something else, a trillion-dollar argument about who controls artificial intelligence, playing out in letters and confidential paperwork, while a Reddit moderator asks the question companies won't. Figures in this episode come from Anthropic, Microsoft, Axios, and Hugging Face, with links in the description. Which corporate failure should we open the file on next? This has been Corporate Breach.